Get ready for an in-depth lotion review with 13 different lotions. Brought to you by Mommy's Trying. This is uncoated genuine leather that my husband got for the sake of reupholstering the center console of my car. To me, this was the best thing I could think of to approximate skin and test lotion on because no one wants to watch me rub lotion on myself. Plus, with the leather being black, I figured you could likely see the differences between each product more easily than on a lighter, paler color. You're watching my husband spray this down with 91% isopropyl alcohol and wipe it down to remove anything that might interfere with the lotion being absorbed in the interest of consistency. We're going to let this dry for at least 15 minutes before applying any of the lotion. Here's the grid that we're going to use to keep track of where each lotion goes. So, to make this fair, I'm going to be using one leveled off 1/16 of a teaspoon worth of each product. The teaspoon will be cleaned off after each product, and I'll be using a new Q-tip and a new paper towel to remove any excess cream after it sits for about a minute, doing my best to keep it out of any other sections. And in the interest of fairness, I'm going to tell you the prices listed on Amazon currently. So the first lotion we'll be applying will be the Aveeno Baby, the Daily Moisture Lotion, and as you can see, we've used quite a bit of it already. And it cost about $9, so 50 cents an ounce. And this is the current daily lotion I use on my daughter, and I have no complaints. The next one is the Vaseline Original Healing Jelly, 100% white petrolatum, which is just a fancy way of saying petroleum jelly. And if you Google what is petroleum jelly, it is made by the waxy petroleum material that formed on oil rigs and distilling it. It actually makes me feel like I'm spackling my daughter with axle grease, so I was never a fan of using it, but sometimes her skin would get so bad I felt like I had no choice. It's unscented, and it's the plainest lubricant, and is a common recommendation by pediatricians. Our pediatrician explained that the Vaseline acts as a barrier to keep the naturally occurring moisture in the baby's skin in, not necessarily to add moisture to the skin. It's about $7.32. The next one we'll be using is the Dove Baby Lotion. This is about $15, so 38 cents per ounce. It goes on very thin, and it has a sticky residue. I was never really impressed with this, and the scent is definitely overpowering. I can't imagine if the parents find the scent to be super overpowering that it relaxes your baby in any way. Earth Mama, the Calming Lavender Baby Lotion. This is about $14, $1.75 per ounce. So this is a company that prides themselves on making their products based off of traditional herbal remedies and using research to back up their certified organic products. Organic aloe leaf juice and organic olive fruit oil are just some of the ingredients in there. We used this on our daughter as a newborn, and it did just fine on her peely newborn skin. This one didn't really seem to have any staying power. I don't think it's a light scent, but it's also not too heavy. So this is the Honest Company Organic All-Purpose Balm. Even though I had high hopes for this one, it never seemed to agree with my daughter's skin. This stuff reminds me of an old ketchup bottle in that if you don't shake it vigorously, you're just going to get a bunch of runny, useless fluid out and keep all the goo inside. The only thing that I liked about this one were the ingredients and description on the back, since they were mostly simple and organic ingredients. Runs about $13, so it's $3.77 an ounce. It sounds promising, but never worked for us. This is a lotion version of the movie Troy, where you find out that Orlando Bloom is starring in it, and you watch it to find out his role totally sucks. This is the Aveeno Baby Eczema Therapy Nighttime Balm. This, in my opinion, is the holy grail. This contains about 1% of colloidal oatmeal, which are just oats ground in a fine powder. It has no scent, and it's the thickest lotion with the best healing properties I've ever seen. You need less than a dime size for the area of application, since it spreads very well and stays on thick. I even personally use this on my hands when my eczema flares up. It's about $18, so $1.63 an ounce. This might be a little more expensive, but it's well worth the money. This is the Honest Company Face and Body Lotion. This one goes on thin and sticky. It's about $10 and $1.16 an ounce. It says it's fragrance free, but I think it smells like wet newspaper. This one, after 10 minutes of applying, feels like you didn't even put any lotion on. This is the Tubby Todd Natural All Over Ointment. This company is aimed at users with dry skin and eczema specifically, and offers natural and organic products. This one feels like it has a lot of solids in it, where it's very pasty and thick after you apply it. It's $16 and $4.57 an ounce. Now, Tubby Todd is the exception on pricing. Since you can't find this on Amazon, you have to go directly to their website, but they do have different discounts. We're moving on to the Eucerin Eczema Relief Flare-Up Treatment. This contains 1% colloidal oatmeal, fragrance and steroid free. It's $8 for 2 ounces, so $4 an ounce. I never really found any fault to this one other than the price, but I honestly think the Aveeno Eczema Therapy worked better and it's a lot cheaper. The Aquaphor Baby Healing Ointment Advanced Therapy is made up of 41% petrolatum, so petroleum jelly. The bottle runs about $6.60 and it breaks down to be about $2.19 per ounce. To me, this is just diluted Vaseline. This is the Honey Honey, made by Perfectly Posh. This is the best smelling lotion. It works like regular lotion, contains ingredients like sunflower seed oil and aloe leaf juice. May not be the best fit if your child has a honey allergy though. It's about $26, so $4.73 an ounce. This smells like how I would imagine Kesha to smell if she took a bath. It smells like sparkly, effervescent lemon. Tubby Todd Natural Dream Cream Shea Butter and Mint. Just like the other Tubby Todd product, this has a thick, pasty feel to it, so it might feel uncomfortable if it's applied to the entire body. I have seen improvements in my daughter's skin with this. It took about 3 days to start noticing that the dry spots were smoothing out. I found that this lotion in particular has helped my daughter satisfy her olfactory needs. Sometimes she's just curious about different smells, and this lotion in particular has seemed to calm that down. And this is the control group. So it's been about half an hour where I've let these sit, and as you can see, the Vaseline and the Aquaphor both still look pretty greasy. The Tubby Todd All Over is actually looking milky now, and the Honest Company Organic Balm actually looks a little greasy right now. Okay, so we've applied all the lotion. I'm going to leave this sit here overnight and we'll take another look at it in the morning for a closer look. As a side note, by the way, when I was putting all the video equipment away, I forgot that I had the Johnson's baby lotion, so you're just going to have to take my word for it that I applied it in the same way. The Johnson's lotion has that strong baby type smell Johnson's is known to have, which lingers for about half an hour but isn't overbearing. It works fine as a general lotion. For a 27-ounce bottle, it's about $6, so it runs about 22 cents an ounce. Now I'm going to remove the tape in between each section. This should make it really easy to see the difference each product has made, since any area that was covered by the tape has had no lotion applied to it and will essentially act as another control group. Once I take the camera off the tripod, I'll try to get the best angles I can, so sorry about the shakiness in advance. After we have a close-up look, I'll take some clean white tissue paper and put the same amount of pressure on it over each section. I'm hoping that this will give us a good idea of how greasy each product is. So if you look at both of the Tubby Todds, you can see exactly where I applied it. And to me, it feels like a clammy residue. The Honey Honey one seems to have stand up well. Doesn't feel overly greasy, and you can tell that there's something there. Okay. And if you look at the diluted Vaseline, the Aquaphor Baby, it looks very greasy. The Eucerin Baby Eczema Relief has seemed to do a good job, similar to the Honey Honey one, where it soaked up a decent amount into the texture of the leather. The Earth Mama was similar to the Tubby Todd, where it left a creamy white residue into the texture of the leather, but overall not too bad. The Honest Company All-Purpose Balm is very greasy, feels very oily. So my personal favorite, the Aveeno Baby Eczema Therapy, is actually similar to the Eucerin Eczema Relief, where you can clearly tell that it's soaked up into the leather, but it's not overly greasy. The Honest Company Face and Body Lotion is honestly very similar to the Johnson's lotion, where it looks and feels like there's not much there, like it doesn't even look like I applied anything there. The Dove Baby Lotion actually surprised me because it feels a lot softer than the control group, but it's also not oily. And the Vaseline is gross. Our family favorite, the Aveeno Baby Daily Moisture Lotion, feels very similar to the Eucerin Eczema Relief Lotion in that you can tell that there's something applied there, but it's not overly oily or greasy. Alright, here's that tissue paper test. I'm going to apply the same amount of pressure to each area. So let's flip this over, and all you could really see, the ones that left a mark, were the Honest Company All-Purpose Balm, the Vaseline, and the Aquaphor Baby. By the way, as a disclaimer, I don't know how different this test would be on skin compared to actual leather because we're living warm and sweaty. So this just is my take on what I've tried, and I hope it helps someone out. I'm also aware that every child's skin is different depending on the region you live in and their diet. This review goes over what I've used in the past and what has worked for my family. Of course, lotion is for external use only, so be sure to follow any warnings from the manufacturer written on the bottle and listen to your physician. If you're more interested in the ingredients and me going into more detail, I encourage you to click the link to my blog in the description box below. And that's my take on all the baby lotions I've tried. I know there are more out there, but as you can see, that's the last thing I need to get right now.